I am Daniel Madison, and this is we are moving closer and closer to a digital world where everything that we do and everything that we can offer in the ways that we share, it's almost completely digital now. And I find myself sat here with 52. This is 52. This is what I am considering to be my final offering, my final publication on the subject of deception and sleight of hand, specifically as a book. It's very strange to hold this book right now, knowing that my future is going to be dramatically different in the way that I approach teaching and the sharing of the secrets of sleight of hand, magic, and deception as a performance art. It all started with a book called Inside. I found myself in a position where magicians and sleight of hand artists were approaching me because they wanted to learn the skills that I became known for, which was mainly deception at card tables for card games. And magicians wanted to learn the moves from me so that they could turn them into magic, or build them in and use them for magic tricks. And I was in a world where I didn't really want to be in that world anymore. I wanted to change. I wanted to live something of a normal life without all the danger that came along with the life that I chose to live at that point. And I found myself working in television for some big names who didn't really mean anything to me at the time. And I decided to start writing down everything I knew about sleight of hand, every technique, and I started writing it in a way that would hide itself. So my techniques were all for cheating at card games, but I wanted to appeal to magicians, so I started writing them in a way that would make sense to magicians, in a way that they could take the sleight of hand techniques and use them for trickery. And just as I published my first book, which was called One, my first little book, it was like over 100 pages, and I printed it out and printed like 500 copies and took them to the Blackpool Magic Convention, and they sold out within seconds. And I found myself like being called to lectures, and it was wild. And I reached out to who became my friends, Dan and Dave Book, and asked for their advice on how do I sell these books. And they were like, check this company out, this agency. And before I knew it, I was writing and selling PDF books, so digital books, no more shipping. And that became my job, just writing and churning out all this information. And it was, for me, it was a race against time, because I've always had this sense of life and sense that we don't have long, and I don't want to die with my music still in me. So I wanted to get it all out on paper before it was too late. And I found myself, by the end of it, I had so many books, and I got so much attention from the magic industry that I started to consider myself a magician for the first time. So back to the book Inside, I decided to collect all of my digital books that I've been offering to the magic industry and put them all in this one package, this one big book called Inside, and that would be kind of the anthology of my work. But then I'd continue writing more and more books. So after Inside, there was a new collection of PDF books. So I ended up doing it again a few years later, and we ended up with a book called Anthology, which that was kind of the height of my career, and that was the book. That was, if you were going to get anything from me, it would be that book. Having moved on from a company that I worked for, and they kind of owned certain rights to that book. By that point, I'd written quite a few more books, and you know, as you get older, your opinion and your approach and my development as an artist, it all changes. So I've written more and more books that felt more pure in terms of Deception and Sleight of Hand. So all of a sudden I had anthology and a load more books, PDF books I was proud of. So it happened again, and I called the book Devilry. So Devilry collected everything. It was 20 years of my work all in this one book. The book itself was 700 pages long. It was a huge book, but I found logistically it wasn't the easiest book to print because it was so expensive because the size of it, and then shipping, the cost to ship something that big worldwide was just extortionate. So I did get a bunch of them printed and sold them, but I can understand, that was the first time I could understand why the digital world and digital offering of books was so much easier than physical books. So I'm sat here now with 52 in my hand, which this is the printed version, or this is a printed version. This isn't the final one. This was the prototype for me to read through. The finished book is a tiny bit thinner than this and much bigger. And I don't want to show it on film yet because I want the first people to see it. The first time that you see it, I want it to be in your hands. And this story, I'm telling you all of this for a very good reason. Everything that I've published and produced in its digital format, when I've tried to force it into a physical item, which is this is what everything that I've worked on in my career, every book I've ever written, every piece of magic, every piece of deception I have offered, all arrives and ends with this book. So this is so much more than a book. With this book, along with the new things that I've created and things that I've wanted to share over the past 20 years but haven't been able to, they're all in this book. So I took 52 items, 52 of the items that I want to be remembered for. If you were going to learn 52 things from me, you're going to find those 52 things in this book. Saying that, this is more than just a book, because the whole point of this and the message I wanted to put in this video, we're almost at a point where everything is completely digital. Holding a book in the future is going to be a rare commodity, and it almost already is. I don't really own any books, and everything that I read is usually audible. I struggle because of the way that my brain's wired. I can't read. I can't look at the black lines on a white page. It messes me up. So imagine me trying to write. It's very difficult. The sharing, the teaching, the writing of magic. Just imagine magic and sleight of hand. Imagine how difficult it is, how difficult a challenge to be able to write and instruct somebody to execute a sleight of hand technique perfectly without them ever seeing it anywhere other than in their mind after you have painted a picture of that in written instruction in a book. It's the most difficult thing, and I've been there for 20 years. I've been through it, and it feels like a huge weight's being lifted with this book, because I can kind of move on from that, and I can move not just personally in the right direction, but I want to advance the art of magic, the way that we learn, the way that it's performed, the way that it's presented. And whether you want to see this as unfortunate or fortunate, the best way for that to happen is on screen or in person, not in a book. They say that magic's greatest secrets are hidden in books, and I don't like this suggestion that people who get into magic, they don't find those secrets because they don't read, or they don't read properly, or they don't study correctly, and I don't like that. I think a more realistic idea is that those secrets, the real secrets of magic, stay hidden in books, is because they're not expressed correctly, or they're not instructed correctly, or they don't make sense when you read them, because we're talking about a visual art. We're talking about visual art here. Teachers of magic are expected to be able to teach somebody, to teach a person how to correctly execute a sleight of hand technique, all from words and a few photographs. To me, it makes even less sense the older I get, even less sense the more books I make. And making this book really opened my eyes to that downfall. So it is with great pleasure and great joy that I say that this is my final offering when it comes to publications of magic in books. In my recent decision to share what I know about magic and what I believe about magic, sleight of hand, and the deceptive practices, when I decided this year, 2019, to only ever give that from now on film, I stand by my word, and I do this for the future of magic, or at least the future of my magic, and I like to lead by example and hope that the right people follow. Magic, if we want to share the secrets of magic correctly and accurately without mistakes, we can't keep putting them in books. We also have to move with the times in this digital world. I'm all for, pick up the books, get hold of the books, digital or printed, it doesn't matter, pick them up. The history of magic is all in books. That doesn't mean the future has to suffer in the same way. The future of my magic is all on screen. The future of what I teach is all going to be on screen. So this really is the final time you'll be able to read magic from me. Putting aside the way that my mind falls apart when I look at a book, or the way that I write now, which has become worse over time. Putting that aside, I want to make sure that the people who are learning from me, my students, anybody who decides to learn from one of my YouTube videos or pick up one of my offerings, one of my masterclasses, I want to make sure that those people are learning absolutely correctly, and you can't really do that from a book. You can't. Michael Weber said that you can't see him online. The only way you can see his magic or him is in person. For me, I'm for the future of magic and the future of this life itself, which is all digital. It really is. So I'm the opposite. You want to see me, it's going to be digital. You want to learn from me, it's going to be digital. Don't get me wrong, there's going to be chances where we can hang out at EPH, Electric Picture House, but this marks the future, the start of something incredibly huge for me. Now, the book itself, 52, it isn't just those 52 items. Everything that I've done, every single independent release and creation that I've made comes along with this book. So when you pick this book up, you don't just get this book, you get everything. This is also the start of something incredible, and I don't say that arrogantly. The 52 items that are in this book, I mean what I say. They're not just going to be lost in this book. They're not going to be lost in here. Everything in this book, at one point or another, you're going to get to share with me at my theater, on my digital stage, right here on screen. The link in this video description will take you to this book and tell you everything about it. This is a landmark for me, a landmark day, and a landmark video. Everything from now on, from me, is going to be on screen. So for the last time, I'm Daniel Madison, and this is 52.